Good morning, everybody. It's a rainy day here in Mesa, Arizona, and I am demoing a vintage Rhythm Ace Tone rhythm machine, which I will be putting on reverb.com later today. It's hard to get a grasp of how well a piece of vintage electronics functions, or even exactly what it does, without a nice video, so I thought, let's post a video so that people can see it really in action. Cosmetically, it's about as close to perfect as any of these that you will find. Very little nicks on the edge of vinyl. Very little discoloring on the Bakelite push buttons. That, I think, is from me. Where some of them have badly yellowed. This is more of a pearl or bisque color, and I believe that to be the original color. I don't believe this has been discolored or faded over time. I believe that to be the original color. The push buttons, that rather than activating a sound, they actually remove a sound from any given pattern. Cymbals, claves, cowbell, bass drum. Tempo control, off-on, is integrated into the volume. This comes by itself. It has no wattage to drive speakers. If you're going to drive speakers with it, you need to pump it into an amplifier of some sort. For my purposes here, we're running it through an equally antiquated PVPA 400, which I estimate is from the early 70s, 200 watts for per channel, 2-channel output. We have left the tone pretty close to neutral. We've turned the reverb off altogether so that you're just hearing the tone of the Rhythm Ace. Around the back, it's every bit as nice. I believe that to be the strap. No thread dry out or rot, or original handle strap. Chrome strap ends, pretty close to mint. I think this was parked. I actually got this from a church, I think it was rummage sale, and I honestly believe this was used for church services, the musical portion of church services way back when. I would assume that these rubber feet were to allow it to be stored or even used face up. But okay, so in here, a low impedance and high impedance output. I go on low, but that will have to do, you'll make your own choice on that. That octal plug right there, which you may recognize from vintage electronics, is not in fact a hole for a vintage plug, but rather a controller for a do-it-yourself triggering device. Now, I'm not aware of one ever having been manufactured for this unit. There's not a lot of documentation on Acetone products, but you use that as a triggering device. I would assume that, so again, when using that, you don't need to do the pre-programmed patterns on the front end. You will be triggering the different sound effects yourself through your own triggering device. I would assume pin 1 is the common, and pins 2 through 7 are the triggers, so that whenever you ground one of those trigger pins to the common, that triggers off that sound. There's no way for this device to be velocity sensitive, so I assume any child's simple contact toy keyboard or anything with 8 or more contacts in it would pretty much work for this as a triggering device. I haven't tested it in any way, but I would just assume that pin 1 is the common, and again pins 2 through 8 are the individual triggers. When you ground them to common, when you contact those to common, that serves as the trigger. Fuse, if there is a dating, you can see it is an FR-1 model. You can see the inspections. If on the serial number, I'm not sure what EF, but if there is a dating component to this serial number, I would assume it's the 18th week of 1970, unit number 14, if there's any consistency, and again, a dating component to the serial number, but I don't know. Again, there's not a lot of... This unit was in production, I believe, from 67 or 68 until, I think, 71. So that date would be consistent with that. This door, I'll close up later, but it tucks away the power cord quite nicely. It's a nice... so this is a metal back panel. This is a nice quality ply with vinyl wrapped over it. And not so much as a scuff or scratch on this. Very, very nice condition. You won't find one. These come up from time to time in vintage electronics, but you won't see them in this condition. I haven't. Plain noise overhead. Very poor quality light. I'm sorry, everybody. It's very overcast here today, and I don't have professional lighting equipment. Again, the on button is integrated into the volume. It's about a second delay till it comes up. So we are on slow rock. Let's go to rock and roll. These buttons again cancel out individual sounds. Let's kill the cymbal. So that just leaves the backbeat. You can do those for the... I think now it would be just the snare going. Volume. Let's not aggravate the neighbors. Tempo. And the different patterns. Okay, so there we have it. The Acetone Rhythm Ace FR-1. Acetone was a precursor to Roland. This is an excellent example of an analog that is not digital, an analog-based rhythm machine, a precursor to some of the really high-end, really nice Roland products that are put out to this day. Not perfect, but about as close as you're going to find in the roughly 45 to 47-year-old range piece of musical electronics. Real interesting piece of music equipment. So this will be on Reverb.com later today at $295 with $45 shipping. If you have any questions, just message me through Reverb.com. I will pull this video down as soon as this unit sells. Thank you very much. Have a good day here from Phoenix, Arizona.